Let us for a few moments remember the Divine Lord in our heart and pray for the welfare of the whole humanity. Hari Om Tat Sat. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. Om Stavakaya Jadamasya Sarvadharma Swarupine Stavakaya Jadamasya Sarvadharma Swarupine Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishna Yate Namah Asato ma sadgamaya Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya Asato ma sadgamaya Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya Mrityormamritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us offer our salutations to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all gods and goddesses, the Supreme Incarnate in this modern age. Let us pray to the Divine Being to remove all ignorance that is causing never-ending suffering to us. Let us get illumination. Let us get knowledge. Brahma Vidya, the knowledge of the Atman alone can dispel all ignorance. Only through Brahma Vidya we are able to have the final liberation. Only then we enjoy permanent peace and bliss. Till then, there is no guarantee that we don't be locked up in some kind of suffering. There is no guarantee that we will be freed from suffering. So, we should aspire for the Brahma Vidya, the supreme knowledge. There are various paths Sri Ramakrishna has pointed out, but he said in this age the path of devotion prescribed by Narada Maharshi is best. By constantly singing the glories of God, practicing all devotion, it will be possible for us to reach God, realize God. Sri Ramakrishna gives the example how the children, while at play, they swing around a pillar, holding it tightly so that they do not fall back. Even so, we must hold fast to God, the pillar of life. Then our life becomes blessed. Then it should be possible to see the divine, all-loving Paramatman with the eye of devotion. So devotion we have to develop, we have to cultivate. True devotion is the result of long persistence in spiritual practices. Immediately we don't get devotion. We have to do it constantly, and we must be sincere in our effort. Then we get true devotion. Once that devotion develops properly, we should make the mind one-pointed, like the mariner's compass. In whatever direction the ship may sail, the compass always points to the north and keeps the ship on its course. So we should keep our mind pointed towards God. Then our boat will sail smoothly. God is Antaryamin. He dwells in the heart of everyone. He judges by our heart. He sees how much devotion we have, not the amount of time we spend on meditation. Without devotion and sufficient faith, worship is meaningless. It is faith and devotion that make the clay image living and conscious. Sri Ramakrishna's life we have seen. He was worshipping the image of Kali, then he did realize her. It was a living image. He could converse with her every day. He could see her moving about the temple, going to the terrace of the temple. So Sri Ramakrishna tells here, once we become well established in devotion, then spiritual life becomes very easy, because God is a lover of devotees. He loves devotees. He is satisfied with love and devotion alone. He doesn't need anything from us. He reveals himself wherever there are yearning and love. But how that comes? Unless the worldliness is controlled to a certain extent. If a person is involved in too much of worldliness, breaking his head all the time, worrying over the things, then how can you have any love and devotion to God? That means you have to get rid of worldliness somehow. And Sri Ramakrishna himself suggests the remedy for that. The association of the holy is the only remedy for worldliness. Devotion purifies the mind. Devotion is not possible if the mind is disturbed. So devotion is not possible if the mind is disturbed. So Sri Ramakrishna tells, to develop devotion in a proper way, the fundamental thing that is required is that we should cast off hypocrisy. It is because of this we do not progress. So Sri Ramakrishna has pointed out why we are not making progress in spiritual life. Because we are not free from hypocrisy. We say one thing, we act in another way. There is no coordination between what we think, what we do, what we feel. Everything goes in different way. If our devotion is genuine, there is no reason why we should not progress and realize God. So, Sri Ramakrishna himself again shows the way and himself does it. Every day he would sing hymns on gods and goddesses. He would make everyday prayers, morning and evening. And then he says, bhajans, praying God in the company of devotees. He is a means to cultivate devotion. Otherwise you won't get devotion. Devotion is very essential. Then only you will get the spiritual fruit. The goal of jnana, bhakti, karma is the same. Whatever path we take, it leads to the same goal. Each path is equally powerful, but none should be undertaken to the exclusion of the others. That is, everything here is complementary. Knowledge must unite with devotion, and this unity must be expressed through action. Knowledge without love is dry. Love without service is pure sentimentalism. So everything is to be connected in a proper way. That is what Sri Ramakrishna wants us to be. To be a real devotee means develop all this finely, in a fine way. So by doing selfless activity, Nishkam Karma, for example, you come to the chapel, you render your service. So by doing that, getting interest in doing such things, you feel a kind of purification inside. Mind gets purified. The same effect you won't feel when you are doing your own household work. There you feel it is drudgery, monotony, like that. But if you go somewhere and do some volunteer service, the effect is different. It only shows whatever we do selfless is bound to give good result. Once the mind becomes pure, there arise knowledge and devotion in it, and it stays there permanently. Sri Ramakrishna tells, the spiritual path for the present age lies through the harmony of all the paths of the earlier ages. Harmony of knowledge, devotion and selfless work. We must have all these. We must have knowledge, we must have devotion, we must be ready to serve. It won't do to have only one. So why we are chained in this world? It is because of the 8 fetters, Sri Ramakrishna tells. We are chained, we are in the prison because of these 8 fetters that keep us locked up in this world. What are they? 8 fetters: hatred, shame, lineage, pride of good conduct, fear, secretiveness, caste, grief. So these fetters have been classified under these headings. Unless these chains are cut down, we cannot hope to become free, though we desire to be. So what is the way? How to cut asunder these fetters? We must hold on to Guru. Guru is very important. He is the connecting link between the devotee and Supreme Divine Being. It is Guru that leads the disciple in the right direction, and whosoever follows the Guru has nothing to worry about reaching the goal. Because once he follows the Guru, Guru's grace will flow upon him, and this Guru's grace is very powerful. It can cut off all these fetters and we become free. It is true, as long as we live in this world, as long as we are in this body, we are bound to make mistakes. So, until we find God, we keep on doing some sort of mistake. Sometimes knowingly, sometimes unknowingly, we do mistakes. But then, what is the remedy? We should take refuge in the Guru. If we take refuge in the spiritual teacher, there is less possibility of mistakes. Sri Ramakrishna gives the example that if the father takes hold of the child's hand, there is no fear of its falling. Even so, if we make mistakes, the Guru in whom we have taken refuge will wipe away all our impurities. So the force of Guru, the power of Guru is very important. It works in a mysterious way. It purifies the devotee and it leads to the goal. We have to keep on struggling till the right time comes. Till the right time comes. The condition of mind before the favorable time arrives is really painful, because the mind is swept alternately by hope and despair, smiles and tears. Sometimes you feel dry. Sometimes you feel, oh, I have done so many years, I have been doing, I am not feeling any progress in my life. All sorts of things come. So, we have to be patient and careful in not yielding to these things that might come up in our mind in course of our spiritual practices. As I said, if we completely rely upon Guru by means of certain spiritual processes, the Guru will push our mind above this level. He has got that power to raise the disciples, and the path becomes clear and the disciple gets inspiration and he goes forward. Anyway, devotion. Concentrate on this idea of devotion. Develop that. If we have not devotion, that means we have to struggle more to get that. When you have true devotion, then you love to do things You love to remember God, you love to do singing of hymns, you love everything. That's the beauty of practicing devotion. Page 299. Well, Sri Ramakrishna is telling, can you tell me why Keshav Sen has changed so much lately? He used to come here very often. He learnt here how to bow low before a holy man. One day I told him that one should not salute a holy man as he had been doing. Harish says rightly, all the checks must be approved here. Only then will they be cashed in the bank. Laughter. M listened to these words breathlessly. He began to realize that Satchidananda in the form of the Guru passes the check. Sri Ramakrishna said, do not reason. Who can ever know God? I have heard it from Nagda once for all that this whole universe is only a fragment of Brahman. Hazra is given to too much calculation. He says, this much of God has become the universe and this much is the balance. My head aches at his calculations. I know that I know nothing. Sometimes I think of God as good and sometimes as bad. What can I know of him? Master Maharshi said, it is true, sir. Can anyone ever know God? Each thinks with his little bit of intelligence that he has understood all of God. As you say, an ant went to a sugar hill and finding that one grain of sugar filled its stomach, thought that the next time it would take this entire hill into its hole. Sri Ramakrishna said, who can ever know God? I don't even try. I only call on him as mother. Let mother do whatever she likes. I shall know her if it is her will, but I shall be happy to remain ignorant if she wills otherwise. My nature is that of a kitten. It only cries mew mew. The rest it leaves to the mother. The mother cat puts the kitten sometimes in the kitchen and sometimes on the master's bed. The young child wants only his mother. He doesn't know how wealthy his mother is, and he doesn't even want to know. He knows only, I have a mother, why should I worry? Even the child of the maidservant knows that he has a mother. If he quarrels with the son of the master, he says, I shall tell my mother, I have a mother. My attitude too is that of a child. Suddenly Sri Ramakrishna caught Yam's attention and said, touching his own chest, well, there must be something here. Isn't that so? Yam looked wonderingly at the master. He said to himself, does the mother herself dwell in the master's heart? Is it the divine mother who has assumed this human body for the welfare of humanity? Sri Ramakrishna was praying to the divine mother, O mother, O embodiment of Om, mother, O mother, how many things people say about thee, but I don't understand any of them. I don't know anything. Mother, I have taken refuge at thy feet. I have sought protection in thee. O mother, I pray only that I may have pure love for thy lotus feet, love that seeks no return. And mother, do not delude me with thy world bewitching Maya. I seek thy protection. I have taken refuge in thee. The evening worship in the temples was over. Sri Ramakrishna was again seated in his own room with Yam. Yam had been visiting the master for the past 2 years and had received his grace and blessings. He had been told that God was both with form and without form, that he assumed forms for the sake of his devotees. To the worshipper of the formless God, the master said, hold to your conviction, but remember that all is possible with God. He has form, again he is formless. He can be many things more. Master said to him, you have accepted an ideal, that of God without form. Isn't that so? Master Maharshi answered, yes, sir. But I also believe what you say, that all is possible with God. Is it quite It is quite possible for God to have forms. Sri Ramakrishna said, good. Remember further that as consciousness, He pervades the entire universe of the living and non-living. Master Maharshi said, I think of Him as the consciousness in conscious beings. Master, stick to that ideal now. There is no need of tearing down and changing one's attitude. You will gradually come to realize that the consciousness in conscious beings is like the consciousness of God. The consciousness in conscious beings is the consciousness of God. He alone is consciousness. Let me ask you one thing. Do you feel attracted to money and treasures? Master Maharshi said, no sir, but I think of earning money in order to be free from anxiety, to be able to think of God without worry. Master said, oh, that's perfectly natural. Master Maharshi said, is it a greed? Yeah. Master Maharshi said, is it greed? I don't think so. Sri Ramakrishna answered. Sri Ramakrishna said, you are right. Otherwise, who will look after your children? Who will become of them if you feel that you are not the doer? Who will look after your children? What will become of them if you feel that you are not the doer? Master Maharshi said, I have heard that one cannot attain knowledge as long as one has a consciousness of duty. Duty is like the scorching sun. Sri Ramakrishna said, keep your present attitude. It will be different when the consciousness of duty drops away of itself. They remained silent a few minutes. Master Maharshi said, to enter the world after attaining partial knowledge. Why? It is like dying in full consciousness as in cholera. Master said, oh Ram Ram. The idea in M's mind was that just as a cholera patient feels excruciating pain at the time of death because of retaining consciousness, so also a jnani with partial knowledge must feel extremely miserable leading the life of the world which he knows to be illusory. Master Maharshi said, people who are completely ignorant are like typhoid patients who remain unconscious at the time of death and so do not feel the pain. Master said, tell me, what does one attain through money? Jayagopal Sen is such a wealthy man, but he complains that his children don't obey him. Master Maharshi said, is poverty the only painful thing in the world? There are the 6 passions besides. Then disease and grief. Master said, and also name and fame, the desire to win people's recognition. Well, what do you think of my attitude is? Master Maharshi said, it is like that of a man just awakened from sleep. He becomes aware of himself. You are always united with God. Sri Ramakrishna said, do you ever dream of me? Master Maharshi answered, yes sir, many times. Sri Ramakrishna said, how? Did you dream of me as giving you instruction? Master Maharshi remained silent. Sri Ramakrishna said, if you ever see me instructing you, then know that it is Satchidananda himself that does so. M related his dream experiences to Sri Ramakrishna, who listened to them attentively. Master said to M, that's very good, don't reason anymore, you are a follower of Shakti. We shall stop here. So, you can ask any questions if you want, any discussion. When it comes to practice, everything is difficult, not easy, because we have to fight out all the bad tendencies. That's why it is difficult. The point is, whenever we go in this worldly life, we have to follow some directions, no doubt, but always it will not be according to what we desire. No, it will not happen according to what we want. No, see, many times we feel we want a good job. True. but we may not get it for some reasons. The reasons are so many. Probably we are not properly qualified, or probably they want more qualifications for that particular job, so on and so forth. But if you keep on trying, praying to God and requesting Him to show you some way, and then pursue it honestly, you will be able to get something. But it may not give you satisfaction immediately, because you should not expect too much also. Oh, I got a job, but they are giving only small amount of salary. You should not expect I should get $5,000 in a week. So we should know our standard also. According to what we deserve, we get. Suppose we are very intelligent, we are expert in, we do get according to merit, we get things. So whatever we want, we can undoubtedly we can ask the God, and we can get our desires fulfilled. But our attention should be to get God also, not simply to get job and then forget God. It is difficult to say. How can you say some person telling you as the voice of God? How can you say that? Even voice of God is not necessary to give suggestions. Anybody, any worldly man with worldly intelligence can give you suggestion to go in a particular way. But how do you know that mind is properly giving you the correct directions? How do you know that? So it's difficult unless mind is properly trained with some disciplines. You will not be able to understand whether the mind is giving you correct directions or not. So what you should do at that time, you think best what should be done and go ahead. Even if it is wrong, doesn't matter. You will, by making errors, you will learn. By trial and error method, you will learn things. That's all. It should not be taken seriously. Take everything in a sportive way. You try to judge yourself, whatever it is. Things are like this, according to your intellectual direction. I feel this way, it is better. Let it go that way. So by following that method, in course of time, you will be all right. It is true sometimes with all our effort, things go against us. Probably it is due to our karma, actually, if you say karmic theory. But everything has got reason. So we have to go through reasoning only to a certain extent. And whatever the things are to be required for a particular job, they are to be fulfilled in a proper way. We must adopt proper means to become qualified for a particular thing. And another thing is, in the world all these things happen just to show that the world is not real, just to show that everything that is in this world is like this only. Don't get lost in this world. Don't be enamored by the attractions of the world. Try to do best and try to be contented in whatever way you are supposed to live. But keep yourself good always and try to do the things in a proper way. And those things may keep your mind in a peaceful condition. Peacefulness is important. Peacefulness. And as I said, surroundings, environment, association, all these things act upon. The place where we live, the people with whom we move. So all these things have a cumulative effect upon us, surely. So we have to pass through all those difficulties, no doubt. It's not an easy sail. But remembering God, surrendering to Him and doing the things to the best of your capacity, that should take care of the things. That's how I feel. Because we can't expect immediate result, we should not expect also. I have prayed and I'm remembering God, still nothing is happening. Like that we should not come to the conclusion immediately. So God has got His own way of doing the things, and he will do best whatever is to be done to you. Like that we have to carry on. Yes, the hatred, lineage, all this shame, fear, see, these are all, they will not allow us to get rid of this worldliness. They're all chains, Dvesha, what a terrible thing it is, hatred. So even to think of God is extremely difficult if a mind is full of this dvesha inside. So positively we must keep on practicing sadhanas so that the chains are removed by themselves. We need not have to make any efforts. Of course, whatever the things that disturb us, we should always try to think opposite. Suppose there is dvesha, you try to counteract it by positively struggling to love, to express the instinct of love, not to hate, not to think about that. And if a man is overcome by fear, he must immediately think of strength. The opposite, thinking of opposite, makes to a certain extent easy for us to get rid of these troubles. And lajja, shame, see, we should not hesitate to take to spiritual practice what the other people think. Why are we to bother about other people's observations? Let me bother about myself. So, we should not give attention to what others would think of me if I repeat God's name, if I go to chapel, if I go to ashrama. So, people, many times, they can't get rid of that. No, we have to go, it's obligation, social obligation, we have to go. Like that, they go away. So though the ashram activity is important, they are not able to come because they cannot overcome that. Social gathering, they have invited us, we have to go, otherwise they will become angry, etc., etc. They think about. Anyway, if we are very serious about spiritual life, we have to take steps to fight all these fetters that are responsible to keep us in the world. All our energy, resources, everything must be directed to God. That's the only way. And sometimes we feel we cannot realize God because we should get rid of that pride. We are all equal in the eyes of God. So like that, we should be able to fight out all these things. Recognize the chains and then try to get over that. But generally, we cover up our weaknesses and we do not do anything to get rid of them, so we don't feel any progress in spirituality. In spite of our living the life for many years, we will be as we were before. So we must take positive steps to get rid of all the impurities that are in us, which we have recognized, and develop love and devotion to God properly, then it will be all right. It is not easy, that is true. As Sri Ramakrishna has said, you have to pass through many ups and downs in the life, ups and downs, hopes and failures, smiles and grief, alternately they come. But we have to go through like that. Without grumbling, we should keep on walking. If you grumble and sit down, that will not solve the problem. You have to walk on in spite of all those things. That's the idea. Go forward. Go forward. You should never stop till we reach the goal. Uttishtata, jagrata, prapivara nibodhata. Rise awake, stop not till the goal is reached. The goal has been shown and the model is here. The spiritual teachings are kept open. Everything is given to us. We have to take them, we have to eat, and we have to digest, and we have to nourish. So, our part we have to do. Everything is ready, we have to take it. That's the point. Under broad classification, they have made like this. Broad classification. just to see how much there are. There may be many more also, but no, not like that. I don't think so. But why they have taken this particular 8? Because these are the major things which are responsible for the destruction of the mind. These are responsible for keeping us in the world. And so, but if somebody else can add some more things, they can add. But they all fall under the category of these 8, whatever extra you may add. But they have been identified, that's the point. They have been shown, because otherwise you do not know what are the fetters, why we are suffering in this world. Because of these things we are suffering. Raga, Dvesh, Kama, Krodh. Because of these things we are suffering. These are worldliness. So we have to get over them. If you don't have Krodha, perfect, you are wonderful, you are blessed. But try to get rid of other things. Jealousy, hatred, etc. If you have it. If you don't have it, doesn't bother. You do not have to bother. It's not that all people have all the 8 fetters. It's not like that also. But then just telling how there are so many obstructions in our way to spiritual path. That is true. That is with respect to when you approach God, you should not have shame. But lajja is a wonderful quality. It keeps women to a safe distance. It protects their modesty. Lajja. So nowadays you feel people without lajja, they move about. See how the bad effect of it. So lajja is really, it's a protective layer. It protects the person. But when you turn to God, you should get rid of this lajja. Don't be ashamed to come to God and to completely give yourself to Him. That's the idea. That pride should not be there. Jati, I am a Brahmin. That label, finished. So in so many ways we are tied down to this world. So many ways. Not one or two. No. There, jnana is not predominant. Your devotion may be, bhakti may be predominant. But Sri Ramakrishna gives the ideal. Don't exclude anything. Give due attention to all the aspects. That's the idea. So if you study the life of Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, Swami Vivekananda and direct disciples, in their life you will see how all this jnana bhakti karma all well developed, and you will enjoy in a better way. Of course, when you progress well in the devotion, knowledge will come automatically. Knowledge means that you realize the wisdom of God, you will have the vision of God. The ignorance will be destroyed by practicing devotion. So when the ignorance is destroyed, that means knowledge is awakened there. Like that. That is, we should not criticize the other aspects. That's the point what Sri Ramakrishna tells. We should not curb or, what is it is useless. What are you doing? What will they gain by doing worship? A person who is intellectual, he has no taste in the worship and in bhakti, etc. What are they doing? Clapping and singing. Can you think that God can be realized by just singing? Like they make comment. So they think just by argument every day, morning to night, keep on talking, they will realize God. Aptitude, they don't have aptitude, so they criticize. But those followers of Sri Ramakrishna, our attitude is we don't criticize anybody. Everything has got its effect, everything has its value. And we have got that element in us, jnana, bhakti, karma. We do work. So, but when you do work, do it selflessly, just as you have been doing. You are coming and trying to do something in your own way, like that. So that is nishkam karma, selfless. Anything that is done for the sake of God. And you feel joy in doing like that, that's a spiritual joy. So that purifies your heart. That's why because it purifies your heart, that's why you are getting joy. That's the idea there. And constantly doing like that, it helps you. So doing work, selfless work, it develops your devotion. Suppose you are sitting idle, then how can you express how can you feel that you are having any devotion to God at all? So only when you work, that expresses itself in your actions. So like that they are interrelated. Because you love God, so you work. Because you feel identified with whatever that is connected to God, you feel attracted to it and you do it. So like that. And you are doing with the idea consciously, I am doing for the sake of Sri Ramakrishna. I am doing for the sake of realizing Him. So that knowledge, you are aspiring for that knowledge. I want to realize God. I want to get that vision. So I am doing. So like that is also connected there. So like that connections are there. That's the idea. Not like that, but it is in that sense it's difficult to hold on to that ideal. That is, though you are working, you will have non-attachment. That concept is difficult to understand when you are working for a salary, because you know you are working for the salary, and that is the incentive. Here, you are not able to get that immediately, though it is invisible. So here it is more significant, and there you won't feel that way of. There's a lot of difference. One can feel that doing the job there and how they do the job here. There's a lot of difference. Sometimes we find people doing the job in their field, they do very well because they are paid for it, and they know if they don't do the job properly, then they'll be fired. But at the same time, if they come here to do some volunteer service, they are not as careful as they should be. They just do it, and nobody should comment on them. Why you are done like that? They become angry. Oh, this little service I am doing, and they are finding out fault. Like that, they become sad. So that's the thing. So whatever the things which we do directly connected to our benefits, spiritual, worldly benefits, and whatever that is not connected to us in that worldly sense, is to be called selfless activity. That's the way we should understand. But selfless activity is more defined when we do it as God's work, not simply selfless activity, because there are so many social organizations. In fact, the other day, last year, I had been to visit a patient, and while returning from the hospital, I saw many people coming out of the wards, and somebody said, Swamiji, these are all volunteers. They come during weekends, they come and help the patients, old people, and those who need help. So they come by themselves. Voluntarily they come and they do. Now, do you call it selfless activity? If they are doing for the sake of God, if they are doing for the love of Lord Christ, then it's all right. It's correct. But if they do it, I am doing it, they'll give a certificate after 6 months. They give an award to me. Then you can't consider selfless activity. You are doing with the objective of getting merit, getting some certificate from the medical authorities so that you can get a good job afterwards. Somebody was telling one girl, of course, the very act is remarkable, there is no doubt about it. So she wanted to go and work in some political Serb and Croatia, some Christians, Muslims, there was conflict, some fighting was going on. Bosnia, this particular girl wanted to go there. It's terrible. Even military people, they want to come back because they are so insecure. But this girl wants to go and render her service. The very idea is excellent. Going there, unknown country, and she is Indian girl. You must know that. Everything is all right. But then I asked her the question, what is that? How is that she is going? Then the mother was telling, oh Swamiji, she goes there because there's an organization who does all these things, and when the persons go and render service, afterwards they'll be given an award and they'll give merit, and they are recognized by the government and companies, and that will help her to get a very good job, and that will bring her career, that will build up her career. All these things they're talking. So how can you call it a selfless activity, tell me? Though it's very good, though it is definitely it's not an ordinary thing. A girl going, not at all ordinary. But see, like this, it must be God oriented. That's why Sri Ramakrishna went to Ishwachandra Vidyasagar. Ishwachandra Vidyasagar was a philanthropist. He would lot of charitable works he would do, and he was loved by, respected by everybody. But Sri Ramakrishna, uninvited, Sri Ramakrishna himself went and met him, and he talked with him. The first chapter of Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, dialogue, Ishwachandra Vidyasagar, very good, famous chapter, because he was doing all the activities, but he went and gave him little direction. You are doing well, but you think of God and do them. You offer it to God, then it becomes meaningful. Otherwise, it carries no meaning. That's the idea. All right, we shall stop here. Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust, raging furiously within. O name streamed down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself. O self drowned deep in the waves of his bliss, tasting his nectar at every step, bathing in his name that baths our weary souls. Various are thy names, O Lord, in each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy, how huge then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass, be patient and forbearing like a tree. Take no honor to thyself, give honor to all, chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or retinue, the playthings of lust or the toys of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is thy servant, O sweet one. In thy mercy consider him as dust beneath thy feet. Oh, how I long for the day when the instant separation from thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years, when my heart burns away with this desire, and the world without thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at thy feet let me be, in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O thou, who stealest the hearts of thy devotees, do with me what thou wilt, for thou art my heart's beloved, thou and thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere. May all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all realize what is good, may none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous, may the virtuous attain tranquility, may the tranquil be free from bonds, may the freed make others free. May good betide all people, may the sovereign righteously rule the earth, may all beings ever attain what is good, may the worlds be prosperous and happy. May the clouds pour rain in time, may the earth be blessed with crops, may all countries be freed from calamity, may holy men live without fear. May the Lord, the destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works, be satisfied, for he being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased. He being satisfied, the whole universe feels satisfied.